We do a small prayer. Om Shri Mahaganpate Namaha. Ekadantam chaturhastam patramakushadharinam radam cha vardam hastair vibranam mushakadhvajam raktam lambodaram shurpakarnakam raktavasasam raktagandhanuliptangan raktapushpaisu pujitam भक्तानुकंपिनं देवं जगत्कारणं अच्युतं अविभूतं च शिष्टयादौ प्रकृते पुरुषात् परम् एवं ध्यायति यो नित्यं स योगी योगिनां वरः ओम नमो प्रातपतये नमो गणपतये नमः प्रमथपतये नमस्तेस्तु लंबोदराय एकदन्ताय विघ्ननाशिने शिवसुताय श्रीवरदमूर्तये Namo Namaha. So we have a very interesting topic for discussion today, the Vaishvanara Vidya. Vaishvanara Vidya. That's a more technical name. However, the word Vaishvanara is a very interesting word to understand and to talk about, discuss about. It opens up your understanding to how you're related to this. The study of Upanishads and the study of scriptures and the study of whatever beautiful modalities we learn. Many of you have been learning with me for a long time. This journey, we've traveled a long way. All of this has to be vis-a-vis you. Vis-a-vis, otherwise it doesn't interest us. That's how the journey begins. You get interested in something only when you have something to do with it. Otherwise, we are not interested in going too far with it. When you understand the association of that what you're learning with yourself, you kind of start customizing this learning process to understand yourself. Basically, the seeking is to know yourself completely. And consequently, you know everything else in the universe, especially the spiritual journey. It begins with knowing yourself. Unless you begin the journey with knowing yourself, you are lost in learning about a subject which is other than you. If you don't find the relationship between what you're learning and who you are, then the learning becomes like something I'm learning far away somewhere. I'm talking or speaking of, reading or something which is not me. When you learn something or when you study something in relationship to you and you in relationship with that, then the entire process of learning becomes very interesting. So the word Vaishvanara came a very strange, coincidental yet not. For the past 3-4 days, I've spoken to more than 6 people talking about the universal being, about the cosmic being, and with relationship to our ego personality, with relationship to who we are. Okay. And it was as if something knocking from inside to me, giving me the word Vaishvanara again and again, that I need to speak about this with all of you in the class. Yesterday, for instance, day before yesterday, for instance, I was talking to Mokshana, and I was telling her that, can you imagine that this whole world is like a being, like a cosmic being? Can you imagine this whole world, this whole universe to be like a person, like a man or a woman, a person, basically. And we are all cells of this person. We are all minute cells. Like we have millions of cells in our body. Each cell does not actually have an identity, yet it does. It does have a meaning because it's a part of the whole. Similarly, in this whole universe, I have no meaning at all, yet I have as an individual. Yeah. So we are all cells in the body of this man, this big universal man. He's called Vaishvanara. Vaishvanara is Vishwanara. Vishwanara is the universal man, the cosmic man. And when I say man, I don't mean a gender. I mean a being, a cosmic being, a universal being. The body, you imagine a human body, he's there. And we are all cells. Now, what is the position of you as a cell in this Vaishvanara, in this human body, big human body, which is the universe? Where is your position? Where do you place yourself? As per destiny, as per our prarabdha, as per our inner prakriti, we are automatically placed in some place, in some part of this human body. You know, some people uh, are in professions that they are speaking aloud and projecting things to the world and explaining things, like how you have journalists and you have people who are in oratory. You know, they are the mouth of the universe. They are the cell. They're a cell which is residing in the mouth of the universe, and their job is to speak and to release this fire that is coming from the mouth. There are people who are busy processing, producing, processing, creating things, and churning constantly. Like they work like they're factories themselves, and they're very active, very proactive rajasic cells of the body, which are placed in the solar plexus or in the stomach area, where there is a constant weaving of productive energy. There are people who are at the feet, of the universal man. There are people who are at the ears of the universal man. There are people who are the eyes of the universal man. There are people who are the mind of the universal man. There are people who are the intellect. All researchers, scientists, people who are constantly in the process of thinking, creating, intellectually processing fire. They're in the head and in the brain of the universal man. And there are some people who are all the time into negative, nefarious activities, and they are constantly in the excreta of the universal man, in the anus of the universal man, where there is stinky activity going on all the time. Yeah. So we are, by our destiny and by our prakriti, very nature, placed, in certain areas of the universe, in certain areas of this universal man's body, Vaishvanara's body. Do we have a choice? It was the discussion I was having with my girl, my dear girl. Do we have a choice? You see, the cells in your body, if you understand at the microscopic level, microcosmic level, the cells of your body are in constant movement. They have a capability to move. We are not even aware of it, that the cells are moving all the time. You fall down, for instance, somewhere, and ek gudum ban jata hai. It swells up. How does it swell up? The cells of the body go there to protect, as an action of defense. It goes there and it swells up. The cells are moving all the time. The cells are being created all the time. The cells die all the time. The process of creation, sustenance, and dissolution is happening all the time in every iota of our body, constantly, automatically. We are so unaware of it. So unaware of it. The cells have a capability to move. They move, and the constant movement. They're in constant movement. So when we talk about the universal man, and I talk about me being the cell, wherever I was born, when I was born, wherever I was born, the free will and the purusharth, that is a blessing given, showered on the human beings. We have a blessing. As human beings, we have a blessing and a free will and a constant movement that we create in our life because of our purusharth. Our movement, if it becomes conscious, we are moving anyway. We are anyway moving as cells of the body, in the body of the universal man. We are moving anyway by nature. But where are we moving if we become aware? We can make a better choice, and we can make our life, this existing life, better. All right. This movement towards where you want to go. For instance, by destiny, let's say you're in the solar plexus, you're in the middle of a huge business, and you're constantly in that process of, the shuttling, the shuttles going up and down and weaving, constantly weaving, matter, material, money, everything. You're there. You can become aware that I'm here. I'm here at the moment. And I choose to make my movement out of this place towards the heart of the universe. Say, for instance, towards the heart of the universe. What happens in the heart of the universe? There's processing of love. There's processing of love, happiness, joy. If I move deeper into the heart of the ocean, of the universe, if I go deeper into the heart of the universe of this Vaishvanara, I enter into the kingdom of bliss and light. I enter closer and closer proximity to the soul of the universe. I enter into the Brahman directly. Yeah. So this was my concoction of the universal man, that I was having a conversation with almost 6 girls in the past few days. Another girl I was talking about minimizing the ego. The ego is I, me, myself all the time. You're threatened, you're frightened, your existence is at threat all the time. You're sustaining, surviving, struggling, and then seeking attainment. With the education that you've had all your life, your imagination touches the sky for yourself, which is good, which is very good. But then you get worried because you find yourself limited. Because you find yourself limited. You say, मैं तो इतना सा ही हूँ, या मैं इतनी सी ही हूँ. How can this vision of touching the sky can be achieved? And then it follows with anxiety, worry, self-doubt, and fear for not reaching the sky. The very thought that you have a vision that can touch the sky means there's a possibility to touch the sky. When we talk about Vaishvanara, or we talk about the Vishwanara being so huge, fathomlessly huge, infinitely. Anadi madhyantam ananta viryam ananta bahum shashi surya netram paschami tvam dipta hutasha vaktram swatejasa vishwamidam tapantam. Very beautiful shloka. It talks about anadi madhyantam ananta viryam. That is, you're neither the beginning nor the end. And ananta viryam is infinitely powerful. Infinitely powerful. The sun and the moon are your eyes, and there's a fire coming out from your mouth. And this entire universe is nothing but your radiance. We're talking about a Vaishvanara or a Vishwanara, which is so big, so huge, that he is encompassing this entire universe, all the 3 worlds. Many Upanishads talk about the Chandogya, and the Mandukya specifically talk about the Vaishvanara. The word Vaishvanara has come in the Chandogya Upanishad. It has come in the Bhagavad Gita also. Bhagavad Gita being an extract of all the Upanishadic wisdom. Yeah. So, the Vishwanara is the fathomless, infinite, very difficult to comprehend. That's why when we have a Ishtadevta, we make Ishtadevta, or the small little statue of whatever Devta you're worshipping, the small little statue of your Devta is representing the Vishwanara. Is actually representing the Vishwanara. It is actually representing that God which is fathomless and incomprehensible, and you cannot put it into a picture. It is actually representing this. So when you do your upasana, this small little idol that you have in your altar as your Ishtadevata should be blown up to the size of the sky. And you, as an ant, small ant, at the feet of the Lord with your head down. In your upasana, if you visualize something like this, the Vaishvanara Vidya will automatically come to you. The word Vaishvanara Vidya has come in Chandogya Upanishad. The king was giving, the advice and the Vidya to his students. Uddalaka and 5 other students, they were given this Vidya. He said that, it's incomprehensible, the principle of the Vaishvanara. However, when you meditate and go beyond and beyond and beyond and beyond and beyond, when your attention in your meditation goes beyond the sky, beyond the earth, beyond the universe, beyond the sun, and it embraces into the nothingness of this expansive sky, then you are actually becoming one with the Vaishvanara. It's a Vidya because it's a practice. It's a Vidya because it is a practice. It's an everyday practice. And why should one do it? All of you sitting over here are interested in understanding how is this, what Maya is talking right now, going to benefit us. Ultimately, you don't want to listen to something which is just a general knowledge. You want to listen to something that's going to benefit you. When you relate yourself with this infinite being, you become infinite. Your intelligence, your capability, the capabilities of this universal being, when you are fused with him, they become yours. Isn't that itself fathomless? Something written here. Also wondering if the cells. Okay. Yes, it does, Sunny. Also wondering if the cells in my body are also seeking truth and contemplating how they are a part of the bigger. Yes, otherwise the seeking does not come. Seeking is, he's written that are my cells also seeking the truth as I am seeking. Who is I? I is the ego. Sunny, when you talk about I'm the ego. I'm seeking something. I'm seeking to find my true identity. I'm seeking to find my true identity, and this false I gets involved in false concepts of seeking itself, finding itself. Whereas the moment they're knocking the cells, when your cells are seeking, then they will take this ego identity into looking at the truth. And you will find the right resources to inquire and go into your truth. Yeah. So we'll talk about this later. To continue with what I was saying about why do we study such a thing, or why do we even listen to something like this? We do this to dissolve our identity. Like I said, I had conversations with 2, 3 of my girls in the past 2, 3 days. We were talking about dissolving the ego identity, because the ego identity is a very limited identity and a very small identity. And what you consider fathomless, you're studying about the universe, you're studying about the galactic center, and that what you call Paramatma, and that what you call the fathomless unlimited person, and then you find yourself very small, which you are not. Which you are not. The I is always small, but when the I dissolves in the Paramatma, then it becomes very big. Then it becomes very big. All the resources and all the information and all the intelligence and all the capabilities of this infinite being become your capabilities. You channel them, you channel all that. The only criteria is to dissolve this I. The only criteria is to dissolve this I, which is the very basic purpose of meditation. The very basic purpose of meditation is to dissolve this I into the universal consciousness, into Paramatma. So this whole Vidya about the Vaishvanara is about understanding this cosmic being. Understanding the cosmic being just like how you would understand a human being. For instance, the like I said, the Mandukya Upanishad and the Chandogya both talk about this universal being, and talks about the chest and the breast area, very beautifully explained that this area, the chest area or the breast area, is like the Havan Kunda, is like the altar where the sacrifice is happening. All right, your hands are the Samidha. With your hands, whatever you're doing, whatever the universal being is doing, this is the Samidha which is going into the fire. And the mind and the mouth and the mind, the mouth and the intellect, the mind, mouth, intellect, and the thoughts, what are there? These are corresponding to the 3 kinds of fire which are there. Agni Trithya. Agni Traya is the 3 kinds of fire, sacrificial fire, which are there. These 3 fires alternate between Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. They are like the dark fire. The Kshinagni is called the dark fire. And Ahavanya Agni, the Brahma Agni, which is the initial fire, the purity, fire of purity. All these 3 Agnis are compared, with your head, with your mind, and with your mouth. So they keep alternating between Sattva, Rajas, Tamas all the time. And this is the fire that is burning. You see, you imagine a big human being where all of this, what you're doing, your cells, your identity is like a cell, like a small cell, and collectively, what is happening in this human body is there is excretion happening, there is digestion happening, there is fire, hunger for money happening, there is this fire that is burning in the heart, and consuming all of the hands are called samidha, because whatever you are doing with the hand dissolves into this fire. हम अपने हाथ से जो कुछ भी करते हैं सब कुछ इस अग्नि में चला जाता है. The fire for life. In fact, the Vaishvanara can be called the fire for life, fire of life. In different texts, the word Vaishvanara has been used differently. And many of the texts talks about Vaishvanara as the fire which is burning in the stomach, Jathagni. the Agni which is burning in the stomach, which gives you hunger all the time, and relentlessly keeps rotating the cycle of earning, consuming, excreting. You're fetching, you're digesting, you're excreting. It's constantly churning a cycle. The Agni it's called Vaishvanara. In the Bhagavad Gita, Vaishvanara is referred to here. It talks about Aham Vaishvanara Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashtrita Prana Apan Samayuktah Pachamyanam Pachamya Annam Chaturvidham. I am that fire which is digesting all your food and balancing the prana and the apana, and digest the 4 kinds of foods. 4 kinds of foods are spoken about, where Ayurveda talks about 4 kinds of food that you are, the one that you eat and masticate and chew. It is difficult to chew. Yeah. The words I have written down for this thing. Bhaksham. Bhaksham is the food that you are chewing and masticating. Then there is bhojam, the food that you suck in and eat. हम गरम चाय पीते हैं ना, सुर लगा के, ऐसे सुर करके. So that's bhojam. Then leham is that which you lick. रसम चावल खाते हैं तो यहाँ से लिक कर देते हैं, है ना, हाथ से. Then chosham is food that we swallow and gulp down. Yeah, 4 kinds of food. So Vaishvanara is referred to sometimes as the fire that is there in your stomach that gives you the desire to live. हमारे पेट में अगर fire ही ना होती, suppose we had no fire, there wouldn't have been the incessant cycle of earning and spending. It wouldn't have been there. It's because of the stomach fire that we all are into this chakki pissing all the time. We are all into this whole, and desire itself is a fire. The desire itself is a fire. It propels you to do something, to work and to earn and to spend. So this whole Agni is the Lord itself. Vaishvanara is the Lord itself that enters into your body. And in fact, it's fathomless. I'm telling you, for the past 3-4 days, I'm talking about this with many of you. It's fathomless. We are not even aware of how this Vaishvanara is working in us. Not even aware, the osmotic process, the assimilation process of how food is assimilated into the cells, how oxygen is taken inside, how it flows into the blood. And this entire process understood by science, but science is not awestruck with how it happens. I wonder why. Scientists, people who are, studying these processes, and they understand so much in detail, more than what you and me normal people understand. They understand much more deeper at the cellular level. We have some doctors on our forum. You understand so much in detail about how the organs are working and how the acids are released, how the digestion is happening, how the circulation is happening, how the, peristaltic movement is happening, how the whole thing gets digested and converted into energy, and how the whole thing goes down as excreta. All of this, but who is doing it? Where is this energy coming from? Where is this propelling automated force? What is the software for this entire automated process that is happening in the machine? How does it happen? I mean, this itself is such a wonderful thing to sit and contemplate on. The breath, rhythm, pulse, your heart rate, all of these things are automated processes. What is the software? Who is putting the software? Who's activating the software? Who ensures and supervises? You would require a whole army of experts to monitor this entire machine. And here you are, unmonitored completely. You're not monitoring anything, and it's all happening absolutely naturally. This is the capacity of the Vaishvanara. So the another Upanishad talks about Vaishvanara as the universal body, having 19 different aspects, again, 19 different mouths or 19 different limbs or facets, of the 5 sense organs, of the 5 organs of action, of 5 sense organ, 5 organs of action, 5 organs of your 4 antakarna, 4 aspects of your antakarna, and 5 pranas, pancha pranas. Yeah, so 15 plus 4, 19. 5 organs, sense organs. That means as cells, if you're cells, if you and me are cells, are we in the sense organs of the universe? Smelling, hearing, seeing, etc. 5 organs of action: hands, legs, mouth, anus, reproductive organs, etc. 5 pancha pranas. One prana that gives you life, that moves upward, other prana, apana, that goes down and expels things out of the body, other samana, that is constantly generating the digestive fire and working in the middle of the universe. And then Udan and Vyan, Udan and Vyan, the pancha pranas. And then the 4 aspects of the Antakarna. That is the Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, and Ahankar, mind, intellect. Chitta is thought or memory, unconscious, conscious thought and memory. And Ahankar, your ego, So if you are in the ego of the universal man, then you can imagine what you would be. If you are a cell that is residing in the ego of the universal man, that it never dies till you die. It will never die till you die. Whereas aspiration of a seeker should be to move consciously towards the heart of the universe and become that love which is residing in the heart of the universal man or the cosmic man or the cosmic being or the Vaishvanara. Our aspiration and desire of a seeker should be to move consciously towards the heart and move constantly into the soul of the universe. So this Vaishvanara meditation, there's a meditation that is recommended, and we'll do it today. We'll do it our class is going to be short today. We'll just make it for 1 hour. All these classes being extra classes. When we have our regular classes, we start exactly at 7 and end exactly at 9. However, these are all bonus classes happening for and open for everybody. So today's class is going to be a little shorter. So the meditation that is recommended, on the Vaishvanara helps you to dissolve your ego. Helps you as a seeker to go more into the heart of the universe. It helps you to go more dissolving yourself into the Devata, your Ishta Devata, like I said, represents the Vaishvanara. So when you're doing your upasana on the Ishta Devata, Sakar Bhagwan, helps you to, it's for people who admit that they cannot touch upon the light of Paramatma without a form. They require something to see to be able to believe that this is my God. And it's a very tried and tested method in our Vedic Dharma to have a Ishta Devata that represents the universe, that represents the, for instance, in Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna is the Vaishvanara. And when he shows his Virat Roop to Arjuna, Arjuna sees that everything is happening in him and everybody is in him. And he is the body of the universe. He saw Krishna as the body of the universe. So if you have a Ishta Devta, for instance, we worship here the Mahaganpati with Dasha Bhuja and the Devi sitting in his lap. And I see him expanded, beyond the sky and beyond the mountains and beyond the river. His image floods my entire periphery of the vision, my entire vision. And I am there like a small ant that puts my head down at the feet. So I'm not even a dot. My size is not even like a dot on the nail of his finger. It's not even the size of a dot on the nail of his finger. I see myself there. That kind of upasana, that kind of imagination, envisioning helps you to dissolve your ego. And you cannot merge with the infinite and tap into his intelligence and tap into what fathomlessness he has if you don't finish your I. What a paradox that I want to remain I and yet become him. That's not possible. I want to remain I and I want to become him. That's not possible. You have to finish your I to become him. At least in those moments when you do your upasana. At least in those moments when you are in submittance, in surrender, and in this intellectual understanding that if I have to dissolve and get even an essence of what he has or what he is, I have to dissolve and I have to surrender and I have to literally molten myself to go become one with him. Okay, so that's the kind of meditation we're going to do today. There are some lot of things written here. I would like to just read these questions first. 7 lokas are the 7 chakras of the cosmic being. Yes, yes, indeed, Sunny. That's how it's spoken about. That's how it is spoken about. The 7 lokas are the 7 chakras. Okay, no questions here. Anything you want to ask? Anybody feels like asking something? Please do come up with your questions. Your questions are what these classes are for. If you're not having questions, then I will go on teaching, but I don't know whether then you're understanding or not understanding. Yeah? Yeah.
Ma, I
No.
have a question.
Yes, Sunny.
So if we are all cells in the bigger being and we dissolve the INS and we merge into the consciousness of the higher order consciousness, then aren't we abandoning our duty as the cells themselves?
Aren't we abandoning the duty of?
Our duty as the cells. I mean, if my body has certain cells and all of those cells stop existing as those cells and they become my consciousness, my body is suddenly devoid of those cells. So the
No,
question is, how
no,
does that fit into the philosophy?
yeah, so by prarabdha, by destiny, you are at a certain place in the universe. You are a cell which is placed at a certain place in the body of the universe, and you will function. You will function, whether you want or not, you will function. Yet, when keeping your consciousness and keeping your awareness moving towards the heart of the universe itself will push you over there. The body itself will push you over there. You know how when we do healing, what we do? When you heal, what you do? We focus on the area which requires healing, right? We focus on the area which requires healing. And what happens when you focus in the area where you want healing? The energy system starts moving the energy there. You know, where you focus, the energy starts moving there, right? So your body's energy system and your body's head, brain, intelligence, and the entire system understands that you're focusing on this particular place. So the system starts moving and working towards that place. Similarly, as a cell of the universe, when you keep this intention of moving towards the heart, you will be moved towards the heart eventually. And whatever function is there as a cell, whichever part of the body you are right now, that also will be adhered to. You know, धीरे धीरे आपकी transition हो जाएगी from that area into the area that you want to be. That's the purusharth. That's the purusharth. That's the utilization of the free will. In fact, at individual level, at microcosmic level, each one of us we speak about purusharth. In all the classes, we have been talking about purusharth and the free will. And what is the best utilization of the free will? I say the best utilization of the free will is to involve it in sadhana. Is to keep sadhana to whatever level you require. Everybody is not on the path to becoming sannyasis or monks. Everybody wants to maximize their efficiency, energy system, move from all the tamasic aspects to at least the rajasic, if not sattvic, towards our own progression, making the path cleaner and cleaner, better and better, more and more efficient than before, and becoming more conscious than before, and rising eventually, overall, rising your awareness to such a level where you are able to see yourself perform in this world. And that's why when the Drashta Bhav develops, then your responses and the way you respond to all the situations, that changes. So the conscious involvement of thought towards where you want to move will help you not only function where you are nicely, but also gives a message to the universal being that the cell wants to move here. You get my point?
Yeah,
Does that answer your question?
I love that analogy that all sadhana is a job application, new job application.
Yes. Yes. How to maintain surrender during intellectual activities. So intellectual activities, intellect and ego, you mean to say, when the ego is involved in intellectual activity. For instance, I am solving a math sum. Let's say I'm doing math and there is a sum, there's a equation I'm solving. So my intellect is involved in solving the equation and my ego is involved that I have to do it. I have to do it. I have to show it. You know how the children work in the class. They want to finish it fast and show it to the teacher. I have done it because they want a reward in the form of appreciation. When you bring consciously surrender into your action, then that reward is not what is going to please you. The solving itself will please you. The appreciation, the reward, and the proving yourself is ego orientation. Whereas the doing in itself is an achievement to the being. So solving the sum is my reward and not showing everyone that I have solved the sum. Yeah. When you bring surrender in the middle, the work itself is joy. What happens to the work does not matter. What result you get out of the work does not matter. You know, it could be possible that you are trying, and the sum is not getting solved. Even that will not matter to you. Your failure also will not matter to you. That doing itself was enjoyable. So how to bring surrender is cultivating the practice of bringing surrender in your everyday activities. You know, and that is what sadhana does. This is Swarna. That is what sadhana does. Sadhana mellows your ego. Unless your ego is thawed, mellowed, softened, become little molten, surrender becomes difficult. A stiffened ego does not allow any other characteristics to come in the middle. A stiffened ego is I, me, myself. Please look at me first. You know, please look at me first. It's a stiffened ego is all the time seeking attention and seeking validation and seeking appreciation all the time. So when you become aware, your awareness is the key, and developing awareness is a lifelong practice. Developing awareness is the me in the me that watches the me all the time. Swarna, probably I'm seeing you for the first time in the forum. So I repeated this dialogue several times. The me in me that watches the me all the time is your awareness. How big this me becomes is the secret of living life without any suffering. If this me in me that watches the me all the time becomes very big and the functional me becomes very small, she can handle. This big me will handle everything in your life. Everything in your life. It's like, again, the picture that I shared yesterday in the Mahaganpati group, Krishna dancing on the 100-hooded snake. This 100-hooded snake is your ego with so many fragments. There is a mother ego in you. There's a child ego in you. There's an officer ego in you. There's a wife ego in you. There is a sister ego in you. There's a daughter ego in you. Different facets of the ego. And each one of this keeps getting stiffened all the time. You're talking to your mother and your daughter ego is stiffened. You're dealing with your husband and your wife ego is stiffened. You're dealing with someone and mother ego is angry. You know, so this each one aspect of your ego is stiffening as it deals with. And if you as awareness become taller than all of these aspects, you become that Krishna which dances on the 100-hooded snake. You understand? So the awareness, this me in me that watches the me all the time, has to be developed with sadhana. It develops with sadhana, drashta bhav, witnessing consciousness. Another aspect of your consciousness that stands up like a drashta and watches everything that you're doing each moment. Like, for instance, I'm talking to you right now, I'm giving you a lecture, I'm teaching you something. There is a me which is watching whether I'm using the right words or not. There's a me in me which is watching me, which is smiling and say, you said that right. You know, she's smiling and she said, oh, that was nice. You know, there's this me which is all the time watching me. You get my point? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Does each identity create a different ego? Yes, it does. At the time of death, does the Vaishvanara speak to you for surrender because the acceptance of the time has come? Yes, yes. This is what everybody says. All the sages, all the rishis say this, that the Vaishvanara speaks to you. Yeah, speaks to you. And at the time of death, you know, death is made very comfortable. Death is not as scary as we think it is. Death is made very comfortable by the Vaishvanara. Paramatma himself takes, you know, you across. Paramatma himself takes you across. So death is a very, it's a very beautiful experience. It's not a sorrowful experience. It's a sorrowful experience for those who are alive around them with their different facets of ego and relationship with that person. It's sorrowful for them, but it's not sorrowful for the person who is dying. Yeah. Yes,
Thank
anything
you, ma'am.
else? Yes, Sony iPhone, who's this? It's a powerful and relevant subject as we move into the new year. Absolutely. You know, it's a calling. I feel these classes, these few classes that are happening on Sundays is a very deep calling to understand and know about yourself. Our life, this life is there only to know ourselves and to be liberated from all levels of suffering. You know, Shankaracharya's statement about on evolution is one of my favorites that I remember. This was probably one of the first shlokas, mantras that I learned, Vivek Chudamani's initial mantra or text. Jantunam nara janma durlabha mataha pumstvam tato viprata. Tasmat Vedika dharma marga parata vidhat param. Atma anatma vivechanam swanubhavo brahmatmana sanstihi. Muktirno shatajanma koti sukretehi punnirvida labhyate. So Shankaracharya, it's given, he's explained the entire ladder of evolution. Jantu nam nara janma durlabha mattaha. Among all the beings and in the universe, Jantu, all the beings of this universe, nara janma durlabha mattaha. It's very difficult to get a human life. Tasmat Vedika Dharma Marga Parata. If you're born in the Vedic Dharma, where you all are born in the Vedic Dharma, you can understand how blessed, how beloved to the Paramatma you are. Vidhatvam Asmat Param. To be born in Vedic Dharma, all of them are born in Vedic Dharma, all my surrounding, everyone. But how many of them are really developing Vidhatvam? Vidhatvam is manliness. Manliness does not mean the gunda manliness. Manliness means to become really human, to become really worthy of being called a human. Most of the people are living very animalistic life. Yeah, to be really called human. Vidvatvam asmat. Tasmat Atma anatma vivechanam. So you're born, suppose you're born with this kind of understanding and this kind of human seeking. Very nice. You're very blessed. Atma anatma vivechana. Are you able to distinguish between the Atma and Anatma? What is real and what is unreal? Then you are even more blessed. That means you have come into this forum and you're understanding the difference between, you know, what is real, my Atma is real, and all of this ecosystem that is surrounding this dhancha of ego is all the unreal. And I'm getting involved in all the Vishaya Vikars of the world, and this is all unreal. Atma Anatma Vivechanam. You're more fortunate. Swanubhavo Brahmatmana Sanstitihi. Even intellectual Atma Anatma Vivechana, a lot of people do, to keep reading books and this and that. But Swanubhava, getting an anubhav from within, that means are you meditating? Are you meditating? And if you're meditating and you're seeking an experience, Swanubhava, then you are more blessed, really blessed. And this is how the evolution is going on. So Anubhavo, Brahmatmana Sansiti. Muktirno Shatajanma Koti Sukretehi Punyar Vina Labhyate. After having meditated also, a lot of very few people have this desire to be mukta, salvation, you know. If mumukshatva, that urge for liberation. I want to be liberated. Sometimes you get tears in your eyes. You don't know what you want to be liberated from. But there is an urge to grow. There is an urge to achieve something. Sometimes you're in a kirtan or a bhajan and you suddenly get this prang of crying, you know, tearsome. It's almost like a pain of separation, viraha, a pain of separation from the Lord, you know. This kind of urge and this kind of desire to be liberated comes out shatajanma koti sukretehi punner vina labhyate. The punya accumulated from crores of life, you get this kind of an urge. So how blessed you are. And if this life is so blessed, then I might as well utilize it. Let me divert and let me take all my purshat towards the realization of the truth, is what all the sages, all our teachers are urging. Okay. And that is what the Vaishvanara himself is urging. Yes. How do you remember so many shlokas? I struggle. I need to read and there is nothing. Komati, good to see you. There is nothing that you have to read, and you will remember what the Vaishvanara wants. You will remember at the right time. You know, there is nothing to, but your study should go on. Kruti, your study should go on. Even now, when you are awakened, you start studying. Believe you me. I'm telling you, you're talking to a teacher who could not remember one verse. This is the truth about my life, I'm telling you. Okay. And in a forum which is going to go on YouTube now, this video will go on YouTube. There was a time when I was in school, I could not remember even a paragraph. I was there and the incident that I remember, which made me cry, was I was in a play, in an annual day play. There was a drama which the school was doing, and I was given a small part, and I was given a paper to learn the dialogue. There were many other girls and boys in the drama who had long scripts, 2 pages scripts, and they all had learned the next day. And I was struggling with that one paragraph all through the evening. I could not remember that paragraph. The next day, I was carrying the paper and I read it. Of course, my teacher was very loving to me and I was not scolded, but it pained me deep in my heart that why couldn't I learn? Well, everybody's learned so much and I couldn't learn this much. It pained me. Then I came to a very deep understanding with myself. I came into a very deep acceptance of myself with that imperfection and that inability to learn. I came with a very loving acceptance. I'm using this dialogue to make you understand. You have to have a loving acceptance of yourself, wherever you are, however you are, how much ever you are. Loving acceptance of yourself. And I found out a way to learn whatever I wanted to learn, vis-a-vis the mantras that you're talking about, shlokas and mantras. I started writing down what I wanted to learn on a piece of paper and reading it every day. Mantras, for instance, right from Shanti mantras to the simple Sukhakarta, Dukhaharta Aarti that we say for Ganesha. I could not remember that Aarti also. I wrote it down on the paper. I would read it every day, every day, every day, every day. It does not matter if it took me months to read it and learn it, but I would read it every day without the pressure of memorizing it. No pressure of memorizing. The child in us gets very pressurized because we were all tormented in our school days. Indian children are really tormented in the school days. Study, 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 rattles in the head. So don't take that pressure in the head. Just very lovingly read it every day. What you want to learn, you read it every day. Make 2, 3, 4 pages of mantras that you want to learn. My very practical suggestion to you. Don't force yourself to learn. Just read them every day. In a matter of one of my music teachers said that if you sing a particular sentence 50 times, it will sit in the right note with you in your head. She said to me 50 times, if you listen and say, listen and say, listen and say, you will be able to sing the sentence properly 50 times. And this applies even to the mantra. So don't go into indigestion by reading it 50 times in one day. Read 50 days. One time each day, that should be enough. You get my point? Have it written down on a piece of
Thank you so much, Ma. That is such good
paper.
advice and suggestion. Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
In the context of Vaishvanara, Amit says, how do we understand different hells mentioned in scriptures, and why would a loving Vaishvanara take his tiny cells through hells? Hell to apne body mein hai na. If you enter into the digestive tract at the physical level, hell, there are a lot of mental hells also, unconscious hells are also there, Amit. But talking at a very gross level, your digestive tract, where all the digestion is assimilated, digested food is assimilated, nutrients are assimilated, and the waste is thrown, itself is a hell. The excreta, the entire large intestine, it's hell. There are thousands of bacteria thriving over there, as if just like how, worms and insects thrive in sludge outside in a nali. गंदी नाली में और आपके excreta tract में कोई फर्क नहीं है. There's no difference between a dirty stream somewhere outside and your digestive tract. We are having hell and heaven in our body. We are having hell and heaven in our mind. And all the descriptions of all the lokas and the different levels of hell and heaven outside is applicable to our inside. Microcosm and macrocosm is not different. It's just the same. It's just the same. Yeah. So all the hells and heavens are there in our body. We are having unconscious mind. You don't know what all is going on over there. How many spirits and how many entities and how many dark things are residing over there and how many things we befriend on day-to-day basis every day. We are completely unaware. All of us, not you. All of us. Yeah. So Netri says, Ma, it's written and everything is planned before we take birth. Then we are just playing a role in the script. So grace and faith, all this is pre-decided. Yes, Netri, we are, as per our prarabdha and as per our fate, we are already placed in certain part of the body of the Vaishvanara. It's already placed. So suppose you are at the you're at the solar plexus and you are in that rut of spinning energy, you're already placed there. However, like I said, free will is given to us. Free will is a thought, first off, to begin with. Free will begins with a thought, a thought that can be nurtured, and can become a reality. Yeah. So Vaishvanara is like how I am as a human being, and I would divert a part of my energy to heal the knee that is paining. I'm putting my hands on the knee. Suppose my knee is paining, I'm putting my hands on the knee and I'm able to take the pranic system there to heal and to dissolve the pain there. Similarly, Vaishvanara listens to the thought that we have and the ichha that we have. Of course, to get the thought itself has to be destined. I agree with you. That means free will also is the will of God. I was talking to another girl 2 days back, and I was telling her that when you see it from the 10th floor, there is a ground floor awareness where you are a part of the world. There is a second floor awareness where you're distancing a little, you're hearing everything, saying something from the second floor. And there's a 10th floor awareness where you don't hear anything and you don't say anything and you look at the whole and you look at the whole picture down there. So when you look at your free will from the 10th floor, that is also predestined. It is the will of God. There is only his will and there is nothing actually. But from the ground floor, when you are at the gross level, you have to will things. You have to take Sankalp Shakti is there. Sankalp Shakti is also his grace when you see it from a higher perspective. Even to be able to take a Sankalpa and to adhere to it also is grace. That's why whenever we take Sankalpas, we do a puja. Every Sankalpa, we do a puja. And I tell you to take a Sankalpa to do your japa. What do I tell you? I take some water and make a promise in front of the altar, seek his blessings. You seek blessings of your guru and your God when you take sankalpa, right? Why do you need it? If free will was an ego activity, then we did not require a puja. We do a puja because grace is required even for that sankalpa to get fulfilled. Right? So free will is also God's will. Undoubtedly, it is God's will. But at the lower level, we are asked to take sankalpas. Yeah. Amit, does that answer your question, beta? This was Netri, sorry. Yeah. Netri, does this answer your question?
Yes, Ma, to some extent. But I still feel then why do we take birth? I mean, agar sab pehle se hi decided hai, then why are we here?
Wait, it's like children playing ghar ghar. Have you seen 3-4 children sitting and playing ghar ghar? बहुत interesting होता है. I love to see that. They assume the roles and they assume these things are mine and these are yours. And then and at the end of the game, they'll put everything in a sack and they'll move on and get back to their work. It's like that. Our birth itself is sheer joy to the Vaishvanara. It's sheer joy to the Vaishvanara, and our birth and the role that we play. It is very minuscule. When you understand the principle of Vaishvanara, you understand that which I am thinking is such a difficult life is actually a very small life. That which I am thinking so difficult to adhere, the role is so difficult, so challenging. It's all an experience of your ego. When you dissolve the ego, you understand ये सब कुछ हो रहा है. Everything is happening. The whole process of happening becomes very clear to you when you thaw your ego. Ego is a very big racket. It's a very big racket. That's why all spiritual activities are centered and focused to thawing the ego, surrendering the ego. That gives you the volume of the experience is borne by the ego. The volume and the weight of the experience is borne by the ego. The experience in itself is a happening. So that's why when spiritually awakened people do not get so affected by death also. They don't get so affected by that. Not your own death, even the death of the near dear ones. The cording and the attachment loosens, when you understand the reality of life. The attachment loosens, and so you're able to view things as they're happening rather than viewing things as if they are done. You get my point?
Thank you, Ma.
All right, so let's do a small meditation. Is there anything else? Good to see you, Nidhi. Good morning.
Good morning, Ma. I've had some series and volleys of questions. I don't know whether I should how to articulate them, and they are
Yeah, please put
mostly on
them.
behalf of some of the conversations that I've been having with some friends of mine. And in the context of parents, Ma, I've noticed that our age group is having a lot of problems with parents. Not necessarily in-laws, but parents. Khud ke. So, what is the understanding that we should have in our mannerisms or even in our action or our thoughts in that context? There is this conversation that I was having where there are two daughters, and one of them lives abroad, and one of them is here with the mother, and she goes down the memory lane, and she feels that she's never been the priority of her parents. Her father's no more, but her parents overall. And she says, whenever I have and I've noticed that too, so in their household. So how should she be? She's the one who's looking after.
Yeah, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4 aspects here spoken about. One is the individual experience of the child, her own story. Second, the individual experiences and fears of the parent that the parent is carrying, anxiety, worry, fear that the parent is carrying in her head vis-a-vis the child. And third, the destinies of both these people, interactive destinies of both these people. Okay, one by one, I will explain to you. So in the individual experience of the girl, whatever story she has experienced, she is holding on all those experiences and memories in her and personalizing each experience as an event that is affecting her even now in her head. When she understands that this is where all the spiritual learning comes as help. When you learn all of these, when you study all of these, you understand that I don't have to personalize every experience. चीजें हो रही हैं. मात्रा स्पर्शास्तु कौन्तेय शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखदाः आगमापयिनो नित्यासां स्थितिसत्त्व भारत. Matra sparshastu कौन्तेय, the interactions between the sense organs and the events and the whole story is happening. I don't have to personalize everything. I, as so and so, went through this is enough for me to say. But I don't have to relive every event of my life on this timeline where I am now. I don't have to relive. I have to detach myself from personalizing all these experiences. This happened when the spiritual me rises above and below, above and higher. This happened to me. So if I have to talk about something uneventful that happened with me, I said, this Ma had to go through this shit. I would say, I am not Ma. When you observe your life story, don't be that person that you are. Just be the spirit. Say that she had to go through this, Then you will not experience the pain. She has already experienced what she had to experience. It's no longer there with me. So part number 1, the girl personalizing everything and, taking everything to her heart right now about her past, which is already, she's experiencing past pain even now. Part number 2, the parent. When you become a parent, you understand that how vulnerable you become when it comes to your children. And it starts from the childhood. The child going to school, you start imagining को बस को तो कुछ नहीं हो जाएगा, मेरा बच्चा गिर तो नहीं जाएगा, खिड़की से तो नहीं कूदेगा, खाना खा रहा है सीढ़ियों से तो नहीं गिर जाएगा. The parent is such a miserable thing. It's a very miserable thing to be a parent because, he or she feels that you have to protect a child at every end. At every end, even when the child becomes a 40-year-old, the wretched parent does not stop caring for him or her, worrying for him or her, You know, I saw the eyes of my 90-year-old mother. Last year, I lost my mother. And in her eyes, I saw a worry that she had for me when she couldn't speak anything, but in her eyes, I read everything, that she was worried for me. I'm like a mountain, but she was worried for me as if I'm a small Raika Dana somewhere, you know. So that's a parent, you know. So the child, you as a child or your friend as a child should have an incessant compassion for the parent, that my parent does not stop worrying, and in that worry she yells out. In that worry, in that care, she yells out, or she snaps at you. Incessantly, she is concerned and worried for the child. When we as children understand this for our parents, however bitter they are, you will have a basic compassion in the heart for the parent. That she ruins my head because of all this compassion that she has in her heart. She goes on blabbering because of all this. She says, uska intensity of irritation goes down. The third aspect that I spoke about, the interactive destiny. This is something very interesting and very, you can't help it. Sometimes the interactions are meant to be bitter. Rinanu Bandhan. We say Rinanu Bandhan, it comes from previous lifetimes, the kind of interactions we've had. Sometimes they're meant to be bitter, they're meant to be sour, sometimes they're meant to be vindictive, you know, and this is something that is very, very unavoidable. And this is something which is most challenging because you want to be good to your parent, but you can't because of the interaction. Sometimes the parent wants to be good to the child, but she ends up fighting with her, etc. So these interactive destinies are very challenging. Individually, we can stop personalizing everything and can, with awareness levels, we can handle things. A lot of things, 90% of the things can be handled with awareness. However, the destined part of it is something that you either need to physically distance or you need to create space, which is like soundproof space between both of you. You know, this is something which is, yeah.
Ma, so if there is no option to create a physical distance, for example, and then there is also a sense of loss of love between a
That's the
parent and a
challenge of
child.
her life. She has to get into the Vedantic way of living life. The girl has to be, so here the question is about the girl because she's your friend and not the parent.
Right.
If everybody gets into the Vedantic way of living life, then nothing will, suffering, you transcend suffering, for sure. Interactions to rahenge, but you'll transcend suffering. You'll bring humor into everything that you talk and say and hear.
Right.
You know, you'll bring humor.
Thank you, Ma.
Yeah. Yes, that's beautiful. So let's do a small meditation, can we? Okay. Let's do a small meditation.
प्रणाम माँ
Yes,
राधिका
Pranam. Radhika, yes, good morning.
गुड मॉर्निंग मामा अभी आपने बेटी की तरफ से बताया माँ अब
Incessantly and vulnerably worried for the child all the time. अरे भाई, आपके बच्चे को जो आप खाना खिलाते हैं वो पचता है कि नहीं पचता है, ये भी आपके हाथ में नहीं होता है. It's not in your hand whether the child is able to digest what you have fed. So her destiny is a very big thing. How can we control it? We can't control it. The child is destined to be what she is going to be. And as a parent, your fundamental role is to give nurturing love and physical at the gross level, provide for the child. At the gross level, provide for the child with food, shelter, clothing, whatever. And nurturing love has to be given. That is your fundamental principle, which is why God has sent the child to you. Otherwise, God would have raised the child himself independently without the child. Because you have a procreative role, you have created the child as husband and wife, you have given birth to the child up to a certain extent till the child becomes an adult. It's your role to nurture the child to the best that you can do. You do. Uske baad surrender mode mein aapko aana hai. You have to learn to surrender and I've done my best. Have you done the best that you could do? Yes. Answer yourself every day. Have I done the best today with what I could do with her? Yes. And then that's it. Surrender it to the Lord. That's why it's important for you to cultivate a Vedantic thinking about how individuals are raised in this world and how the Vaishvanara is looking after everybody, you know, and how we are a part of him. We are in the Agni. We are in his body. We are not apart from the body. वो वैश्वानर वहां नहीं है, मैं यहाँ नहीं हूँ. I am in the body of the Vaishvanara. So you say, so are your children. Why is one cell fighting with the other cell? Or why is one cell who is being nurtured by the Vaishvanara thinking about how I will nurture the other two cells which have come from me? The Lord that is looking after you is going to look after your children now. Where are you? Where is the question of you looking after the children? You don't have to. You just physically have to give the nurturing aspects as you are asked to. Right?
Right, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
All
Is there
right. Are
time
your
for one
eyes
more question?
closed? Yes. Somebody is
time
not
for-
mute. Please go mute.
Is there time for one more question?
Yes, there is. Tell me.
So, Ma, there are some people who have this wish to get married, and they are, in spite of their whatever efforts they are putting in, are not able to. And of course, there is time which is going by, and that's also one worry. So, there are people that I'm interacting with also in that space where I really don't know what to answer, because what to say then when somebody
Yeah.
really
So,
has this desire
yeah,
and
it's a very interesting point that you've spoken about, Chidamra. There is a universal change happening. You know, if you just notice everything, I notice because I try to live a sadhu's life, and I understand that I observe what's happening, the trends in the universe. There's a trend happening. More and more people are choosing to remain single. More and more people are marriage not happening, even though they want to get married. Then you have the entire LGBT coming up so strongly. There's a universal change happening, and ये उसकी सत्ता है, भगवान की सत्ता है. You say that we are not, you know, what's happening to us human beings, why are we doing this, why are we doing that? You know, it is a very small, narrow thinking. Whatever is happening to humanity as a whole is being monitored by Paramatma. And these changes are coming in Prakriti, by Prakriti, and as per Prakriti. These are changes that are coming in Prakriti, by Prakriti, and as per Prakriti. Many children produced or no children produced. Marriage is happening or no marriage is happening. Marriage is happening in a very unconventional way that never was seen before. All right. All of these changes are happening in Prakriti. So when you study, and when you study the scriptures, and when you understand that it is his satta, it is his governance, not ours, then you understand that me as a person, what is happening to me is under his governance as well. I neither think, I need not think myself small for something not happening to me, or not think myself as a failure for something not happening to me. I don't have to personalize the experience of my life, because something is not happening. I have a will, I have a wish, but if it's not happening, I take it as the will of Lord and live a role which has been certainly designed in a better way than the conventional role. I have to understand, if it's my daughter, I would give the same explanation to her. And if it's me, myself, I would give the same explanation to myself, that there is a better role that God has designed for me than a marriage, which is a very treadmill role. Everybody's running on it, non-stoppable. And many people fall down from the treadmill, often trip down. And sometimes the treadmill just stops and you want to run, but it's not running, etc. So I have a role which is better designed by Paramatma, and I'm wholeheartedly into it. Instead of struggling to get married and wasting many years of the life in the wait of getting married, as if it is the ultimate goal of life, one should focus on and harness the strength inside and harness the creativity inside to make the best utility of life. Marriage is not a very, it's not a last destination, and not something that is good for everyone. You have a million experiences around you where marriages have not been good experience. So though it is in the dharmic parameters, societal dharmic parameters, it is one of the stages. Grihasthashram is one of the stages. But Grihasthashram एक बंदे से complete होगा क्या, आपको पूछना चाहिए. You have to ask yourself that, is this the Grihasthashram that is there for me? Maybe some other Grihasthashram is there for me. Maybe you could give birth to an organization and make that your Grihasthi. Maybe you could take an NGO and make that your Grihasthi. Maybe the entire family of the Lord becomes your Grihasthi. So what kind of a role God has for you needs to be, you should wait for that to evolve and to, manifest, rather than waiting endlessly and ceaselessly for years together to get married, which is not happening organically. नहीं हो रहा है तो नहीं हो रहा है. You have to come into that acceptance, and believe you me, that's not the last destination, and that's not something that one should keep crying and creeping for. Many parents do that. I have a lot of dear ones who are crying कि मेरे लड़की की शादी नहीं हो रही है, कर नहीं रही है, 35 की हो गई है. It's as if it's a mourning ceremony going on for many years. It should not happen. That's not the way you revere God. No, that's not the way you revere life. That's not the way you do pasna. That's not the way that you have understood anything about God then. If there is any cribbing in life about any life situation, that means you have not understood God. Finish. You just go wash your face and take out the dust out of your intellect to understand how truly Prarabdha is working, and how in great acceptance and great surrender you have to accept whatever the destiny story is. You have to accept the destiny story. And for heaven's sake, leave the children when they're adults. I'm sorry. Was that too harsh?
No, it's important to understand this, ma'am, because there is a lot of undulations in the heart in a lot of people which are going on because of this. There is restlessness in their entire day. So how do they come to terms with the fact that I know I need to be easy?
Yeah. For the person himself, it's a collective pressure of the family, society. Again, the ego is battered. I'm not worthy enough. That's why I'm not getting married.
That's
I'm
also
not
one
worthy
of
enough.
it.
That's why I'm not getting married. I'm not good looking, or I'm not qualified enough. Or is there nothing good in me that I'm not finding anybody?
Or
Why
even
are you
comparisons with friends
Yeah,
and
why
with
should the
others.
person put himself or herself so much low below to think, give a declaration in the head that there is nobody in this life that is worthy of, of me. मैं इतनी worthless हो गई हूँ. That needs to be erased. You as a counselor and a healer should uplift the person's identity, and should uplift the person and put her at a place and tell her that you are so worthy that you will not find a physical person. Only God is worthy of you, and He has chosen you as His personal wedlock. Tell her that.
He's here listening.
Nothing less than that. God doesn't want to share you with any mortal man. Finish.
So nice, ma. I thought she's not here in the meeting, but she is. I see her name. So good. Good to see
Great,
her.
great.
Thank you, ma.
Yeah. When I do sadhana, I start crying. How to control my emotions during sadhana, and there becomes heaviness in my heart and I get disturbed. Doesn't matter. You don't have to imagine yourself, Nutan, that you're going in a state of samadhi. Even crying in sadhana, or if your heart pours out, when you're, let that happen. There is a lot of detox that happens, and there's a lot of washing out of unnecessary stuff that is happening. It's very much a part of sadhana. Take it easy. You'll do it for 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day. After that, your heart gets lighter, and you will be able to go into meditation. So if, as long as this is happening, let it happen. It's a emotional overhauling. Let it happen. Okay. Don't resist that. Social conditioning. There are many ways to live other than marriage. Yes, Claudia. Absolutely. Chaliye, aaiye. Close your eyes, feet on the ground. Eyes completely in surrender, body completely in surrender, eyes closed. Attention in the heart. As if you're going deep into the heart. Look at yourself as a small little person, the awareness that is walking deep into the heart, through the chamber, coming into a beautiful lighted space in the heart. Look at yourself walking there, in the lighted space, right at the center. Sitting down there like a yogi, like a Shiva. A smiling, beautiful countenance. Body in complete surrender, mind in complete surrender. Look at yourself sitting down there in this beautiful lighted space like a Shiva. A beautiful thick pillar of white light falling on your head from above. Surrounded with the light, a beautiful smile on the face. Let this caring, beautiful, nurturing light, loving, beautiful, nurturing light of the universe fall on you, on your head, spreading and showering you. It's spreading to all the cells of the body and also showering on you, surrounding you completely. The beautiful smile on your face of total acceptance and total surrender. Acceptance of whoever you are. 100% acceptance of whoever I am. Whether I am that small chamomile flower in the bushes along the road, or that small little daisy somewhere in the bush, in the forest, or that beautiful exotic rose, or that beautiful aromatic intoxicating jasmine. Whoever I am in total acceptance. I'm in total surrender to nature. I'm in total surrender to this nurturing, caring power of the Prakriti and the benevolent, graceful light of the Vaishvanara that is falling on me. I'm in surrender to who I am, in complete acceptance. As I expand my awareness beyond myself, as I take my attention beyond myself, I'm connecting to all that is around me, and I'm going higher and higher, connecting to all the beings of this universe, touching the energy of the skies and the heavens, touching the energy of beyond the earth and beyond all the planets and beyond the galaxies and beyond the universe. I'm touching the energy of the Vaishvanara. I'm in complete embrace of this universal being, completely soaked in his love and energy. I'm cared for, nurtured, and in complete protection of Paramatma. Let your eyes be fixed to a point. Don't move your eyes. Just feel the pulse of the universe. Hear the sound of silence. Just be where you are, unmoved, unaffected, in complete acceptance and complete surrender. For the next few minutes, just enjoy the silence and peace that is so inherent in you. Keep both your hands on the heart. In deep gratitude. In deep thankfulness to all our teachers, mentors, guides, to Paramatma himself for guiding us and uplifting us and taking us closer and closer into his being, into the deep realization that we are always, always connected to him. We are in him. Deep gratitude for these beautiful moments of light, sunshine, hope, peace and love. Rub your palms together, wipe your face. Cover your eyes and then open and come back on the screen with me.
Thank you, Ma.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Ma.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ma.
Small nurturing moments.
Thank you so much, Ma.
Thank
Thank you so much, Ma.
Much.
Pranam, Ma.
Pranam. Avir, pranam. Uh,
Pranam, Ma.
yes. So nice to see you. Good to see you here.
Pranam, Ma.
Pranam,
Thank
good
you.
morning. All right, so that's all for today. Is there any question? If you have any question, don't go back with your questions. Come out and utilize these classes which are there. They're happening every Sunday until the 24th, 14th of January. 14th January, we are starting the Deepa Lankar course on Upanishad. For those who are new on the forum, if you want to join, then you send me a message. I'll send you details if you want to have a conversation or you want to ask something about what's being taught and how the structure of the course is, you can message me directly. Until then, these Sunday classes are happening and all of you are most welcome. With all your loved ones, you're most welcome. If any other question is there and something that you really want to communicate with me, please feel free. You can send me a WhatsApp message. Okay, thank you so much. Love you all so much.